Good day, Captain.
Ma'am, I'm just the courier.
I understand that. I'm not blaming you directly. Dr. Salvato, how long have you been here?
About a year now, Doctor.
And in that year, how many times have we had this conversation about late or missing shipments of supplies?
I believe this is the third time.
Yes, that sounds right. 3 times. I will be making it very clear to your superiors that lives are at stake, and the clinic requires reliable transport. If your company
Captain,
cannot meet our
do
needs,
you
someone
require
else
my
will.
assistance?
Yes, ma'am. Understood.
Thank you, Dr. Salvato. You may return to your duties.
I hate this delivery run. Can't ever get here fast enough.
Running this facility is a challenge, even when there isn't an outbreak of some sort. Welcome to the clinic. I'm Dr. Darvish, Chief of Medicine. Is there something I can do for you? I thought perhaps the name gave it away. This is one of the preeminent medical care centers in the Settle systems. We take our work very seriously. Then I suggest you seek out one of the many other facilities available to walk-ins. I'm afraid we don't often deal with minor cases. We have a particular focus on astrovirology here, so the patients we take on tend to have unusual cases that require long-term care, and sometimes require unorthodox or experimental treatments. We have an excellent track record that speaks for itself, but it doesn't leave room for much else. If you absolutely require medical supplies, speak to Dr. Salvato. We have very limited resources I would consider extra, and he would be the one to distribute them. I am, yes. I took over from Dr. Eswaran when he retired 9 years ago. While the clinic does occasionally take on research projects that have their own chain of command, I am ultimately responsible for the entire facility. I'm afraid that information is confidential and restricted to our corporate partners funding the projects. The clinic has occasionally been faced with unique situations that might be considered hazardous in other facilities, but no, nothing that could not be contained and dealt with. Certainly. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of new worlds that humanity has set foot on. While many don't host some sort of life, there are more than enough that do. Any one of those worlds could be inhabited by all manner of pathogens, things we've never seen and have no idea how to treat. Someone has to try and stay ahead of what could be a very deadly curve. Here at the clinic, we do our best. If we do it right, no, not usually. An abundance of safety protocols are in place, and we have decades of experience. Ironically, this may be one of the safest environments in the Settle systems. Would you now? Well, I suppose we could always use additional research specimens. The more data we have about what's out there in the Settle systems, the faster we can diagnose novel illnesses. In theory, at least. I suppose we could consider you an independent contractor of sorts. There are naturally occurring antimicrobials in both alien flora and fauna that we can learn from. If you can provide some additional samples, there are credits in it for you. What we're looking for are basic organic substances. They could come from any number of flora or fauna on countless worlds across the Settled systems. Just keep your eyes open as you travel and harvest things when you find them. Or frankly, if you can find them at a reasonable price somewhere, purchase them. I'm less concerned with the source than the materials themselves.
Ever run into spacers? Scumbags and scavengers. They're like vultures.
I'm just between you and me. This place sees some weird cases. Gross ones, too. Well, let's see now. I joined up in 2292, so that'd be 38 years now? Damn. Hard to believe, now that I think about it. almost 40 years. There ain't been many Rangers who served that long, I can promise you that. Well, offhand, I can only think of two. Cassie Hickson made it to 42 years before she caught a bullet from one of them Shaw gang boys. He got himself all liquored up at Aggie's. That's over in Aquila City. Started using the passers-by for target practice. Then there was old Rusty Ortega. Had a good run of 52 years and retired to a farm on Montara Luna. Passed away just a few years back. I suppose I don't think much about it, but when I stop to count the years, well, they sure do add up. Not exactly a hotbed of criminal. Well, you'd be guessing correctly then. Even if there was some kind of trouble, which there almost never is, Freestar security would handle that. Truth is, this post is what you might call ornamental in nature. Ever since the clinic came under Freestar collective control, there's been a ranger here. I reckon it's to serve as a reminder who's in charge of this place.
Not sure if those Varun zealots live in space or got separated from their home planet or what, but they scavenge what they need. Lots of old facilities left over from the colony war.
Can't let you in without proper authorization.
If you're thinking about going into medicine, just be really sure before you commit to it. Really sure.
You'd be surprised how many times I have to argue that we prioritize... I'm just a computer guy. You need medical help, you'd better talk to someone else. Oh, you're not familiar? I'll give you the quick version. UC built the station back in 2194. It was outside of their established territory, which caused a bit of a disagreement and a bit of a war. And after what I think most people would agree was much too long a period of time, the war ends. One of the terms was the station was handed over to the Freestar Collective. Never really thought about it that way. Guess you're right. Although, is that really irony? I feel like I don't really understand what qualifies. So since then, the clinic's been under Freestar collective control. Over 100 years now, I think. Over time, it started to focus more on weird things. People picked up on all sorts of planets and space expeditions, became known for it, and now focuses on it almost exclusively. And here we are today, carrying on that work. Actually makes me feel kind of proud when I lay it all out like that. Well, yeah, somebody has to. It's great medical care, but not the latest in support tech. Funding only goes so far, and most of it's prioritized for keeping patients alive. And there's still a lot of outdated UC tech behind the walls that needs interfacing, so I stay plenty busy. You know, I used to. Then I realized I could catch something just about anywhere, and if I did, this would be about the safest place in the galaxy to be. So, I feel like it kind of all evens out. Well, then I'd be out of a job, wouldn't I? You're not entirely wrong, though. But someone would have to convince Dr. Darvish it was a priority, and I gave up on that effort years ago. Have a good one.
Oh, mind your step.
Every knew you had a chance to talk to Dr. Cassidy. Really fun guy. Dry humor, though. So dry. You know, just by breathing the air, you are being exposed to about a dozen different viruses.
Everything's good. I appreciate you checking, but really, it's okay. I've been here a whole year now.
1 year behind you, whole career to go. You're doing just great.
Every new alien pathogen we discover is just a little...
Are you the courier? You're not really supposed to be back here. You can just drop the delivery off by the docking port and someone will take care of it. Well, sure. We can't afford to run low on supplies. Never know what kind of medical emergency might pop up at any moment. Well, then you won't have Dr. Darvish breathing down your neck at least. But, well, we're not really set up for having folks just milling about in here. It is a medical facility, after all. If you could just do your best to steer clear of the doctors while they work and not interrupt things, I'd really appreciate it. And if you need anything, I'm right here, okay? Well, I wouldn't really say we work together. It just happens to be in the same place. He has his job keeping the peace. I have mine keeping this place running. Truth be told, I think it might drive one or both of us a little crazy if we actually work together. But I do appreciate being able to see him every day, even if it's just to pop over to his office and say hello or share a meal. It's nice. Nurse supervisor, dear. I'm the one who takes care of all the doctors, as well as the patients. The more I can look after, the more the doctors can focus on patient diagnosis and treatment. Every role here is important. Oh, sometimes, sure. Somebody walks in or is dragged in with something we haven't seen before. You best believe it's all hands on deck. Have to find out if it's lethal or contagious, or both. It can be, yes. But we've all learned to live with it. If we didn't do this, who knows how many lives would be lost. It's harder on the newer folks, that's for sure. You take that Dr. Salato, nice man, but he's a little on the skittish side. He's a good doctor, but just needs a little more confidence, you know? Mm-hmm. Only been here a year or so, which isn't much compared to some of us. Oh, aren't you a dear? No, he'll do just fine. He just needs some time. Actually, now that we're talking about this, I wanted to do something nice for him. Give him a little pick-me-up. I overheard something about a meal he hadn't had in a long time. Thought maybe if I could deliver one to him, it'd be a nice gesture. You think you could help with that? Aren't you just the sweetest? You know that Don's Roost restaurant in New Atlantis? The fancy one? Dr. Salvato was talking about the synth liver pate. Said he'd never forget it. You bring me a plate and I'll make sure we brighten up his day.
Dr. Dar, you know, there are more couriers coming and going from this place than patients most of the time. Guess that. Oh, we're not really supposed to talk about that kind of thing. Doctor-patient confidentiality and all that. Dr. Darvish is pretty strict about that. Well, about everything, but definitely that. Oh, sure. Everyone is really great. Top of their game, medically speaking. I've learned so much these last few years. I try not to take any of it for granted. This career, helping people, it really means something. Back to work, then.
You had a chance to talk to Dr. Cassidy. Really fun guy.
Never a dull moment. The doctors were nice, but I'm ready to get out of here. Can't wait to get back to my farm. The treatments were fine, but the food? Oh, heavens. It's good to see someone other than nurse.
Doctors still don't know when we'll be okay to leave. Howdy. Good to see someone other than a doctor. That I am, that I am. Lucky to be alive, apparently. Me and my brother here have been patients for going on, what, 4 or 5 months now? Good Lord. I, being the stronger and smarter one, am recovering quickly. Still sick as a dog, but the doctors let me roam around to visit my infirm brother here. He was in a coma for months. He's only now making some sort of recovery. Well, I think it's all right, seeing as how my brother and I would be dead if we never came here. Doctors are nice enough, treatments aren't too bad, and food's all right. That doesn't mean I'm not counting down the days until we can leave. I'm itching to go back home. This genius brother of mine was begging me to go on a hike with him on Aquila. He's a real outdoorsy type, you know. Now, being a man of letters, I didn't want to go, but he just kept yapping. So, we go on this hike, right? We don't know where the hell we're going. Well, we got lost, stranded with no food or water. I told him to pack food and water, but the fool forgot. Well, we start scavenging for some food to sustain us, and we come across this thing, like a plant, but I don't know what the hell the damn thing was. Looked tasty enough, so we ate it. Well, the damn thing nearly killed us both. Turns out, we weren't even that far from the city, so we were found by some passerby, and here we are. We got real lucky. Damn right. Damn right. John ate most of the thing. I only took a few bites. Yeah, well, not out of the woods just yet. Things have been pretty hairy for John here. But I think you're right. It'll take more than that to kill the Joseph brothers. Take care now.
Oh, God. Oh, hey, buddy, I'm kind of suffering here. Can you leave me be?
You have a nice day now.
Need to make sure those files are backed up.
Please, excuse me, but this is my private room.
You heard of the Elios Retreat? Supposed to be some New Age healing center for reforming criminals or whatever. Going up in Exil 2. I'm not holding my breath.
Have to keep an eye on these doctors, or they'll work themselves to death.
I think I got them. What do you call them? Horns? Yeah,
You know, just by breathing the
Is there
air,
a type of weapon combat
exposed
tech
to a
won't make?
dozen different viruses. I kid you.
Dr. Darvish took a chance on me, hiring me fresh out of training. Need to make sure she doesn't regret. I look like I work here, right? A couple of patients didn't seem to think so. Oh, it's really a matter of safety, believe it or not. The types of things we work with here. Let's just say you wouldn't want them spreading on a populated planet. In here, we're all nice and isolated, just in case. Not the most comforting thought, but it's the truth. Tending physician. I'm new here, so really what I do is watch Dr. Darvish's every move and try to imitate it. Sounds a lot less impressive when I say it out loud. We tend to reserve things for our long-term patients, but I'm sure we can work something out. We don't usually take walk-ins, but all right, let's have a look at you. Oh, I've seen much worse than this. We can get this taken care of, no problem. Okay, I can have this stitched up in short order. Right as rain, as my grandfather would put it. Oh, well, that's appreciated. There really isn't anything you're qualified to do in here. No offense, of course. But, I do have some data requests from other facilities in the settled systems. Everyone always wants to know what we're up to. Usual courier has been less than reliable lately, so if you could get this slate where it needs to go, that would help us, and put a few credits in your pocket. Thanks for stopping by.
How does she expect me to get all this done by myself?
I'm here for research, not treatment. If that's what you're looking for, there's simply too much to do to allow me to just stand about conversing with you. I apologize. I'm afraid I lack the time for purely social interactions.
We should be getting a hazard pay working in a place like this.
You appear dehydrated. I suggest you immediately drink.
Just 1 week without something weird. That's not too much to ask.
Are you here for a procedure? New-ish. I've only been here a year, which, well, when you compare it against Dr. Darvish's career, it's not much, is it? I'm thrilled to have the opportunity, but it's been an adjustment. Very few cases here are simple, and most of them are medical emergencies. I guess that depends on what you consider a break. We get some time to ourselves. We're not on call all the time, but we're never that far away from it either. Now that I think about it, I haven't actually left the clinic since I got the job. I actually hadn't really noticed. No, not really. This is my home now. The people here are wonderful, and the work we're doing is incredibly important. That's what really matters. Hey, let's keep our voices down. The clinic doesn't exactly know I'm giving its supplies away. That being said, I've been expecting someone soon. I've heard Bayou really has a vice grip on Neon right now. I have some supplies I can give you. Should be more than enough for now, and it shouldn't draw any suspicion from the clinic. I'll have them loaded onto your ship. What the clinic doesn't know won't hurt them. That's why it's important to keep this as confidential as possible. I'm putting my job on the line to do this, but I know that the people of Neon need help. I'm willing to take the risk and skim a few supplies from the clinic. But if the clinic finds out, then I'm out of a job and Neon is out of supplies. Again. So, let's not be too conspicuous. He's a good friend of mine. We both worked at the same clinic in Aquila City. The work was hard, and I was really young and nervous, but he always looked after me during those days and helped me as much as he could. So, to answer your question, I'm doing this because I know for a fact he'd do the same for me. No questions asked. Sorry, I can't do that. This is the most I can give you without drawing suspicion. Sorry, but I can't. Look, I'd like to help, but I hear you. You may think so, but I don't. Sorry, but I can't afford to give you any more supplies. I can't lose my job over this. What I'm giving you now should be more than enough. The supplies will be loaded onto your ship. No extras.
Having a good one?